part-time salaries for the court. A gaming budget, again, the same amount to support the general fund as last year. Districts will receive an additional 10%, as well as mayor and the shared 10%. So everybody will be getting 1.1 million this year as, from the 1 million last year. It includes the 1.2 million transfer to inspections. We know we lost all that revenue with the rental registration laws. And lastly, the River Park debt service has been removed. We made the last payment this year. Next year, last payment for jobs still. So good news, improvement there.
All righty, thank you, Heather. The public hearing is now open for the 2017 Hammond Civil City budget. If anyone has any questions, if you would please come to the podium.
Alvin Cheeks, 832 Merrill Street, Hammond, Indiana. I guess where I start at is the street department. What I noticed at the street department is we have 5 foremen, 6 foremen, I'm sorry. Each one of them makes about $60,000. Lake County commissioners in Lake County, Indiana make $5,000 less than that. So my thing is that we need to find the $5 million they were speaking about for the police and fire, because those are our 2 most vital interests that we have. The other thing that I noticed is that we have the same duplications of services in the park department. If you go over current statutes and current supervisors in the park department, we have a large amount of supervisors in the parks department. That in itself, you can cut 3%. You know, if you cut 3% from the Parks Department and you cut from the Street Department, that in itself will lend itself to meeting the goals and objectives, to getting closer to the dollars for the police and fire, because that's our most vital need. Also, I do agree with what Mr. Torres has said in regards to giving the regular employees in the city of Hammond a pay raise, because they work very hard. The other thing is in regards to the Redevelopment Commission. The Redevelopment Commission has a maintenance person that should be
Excuse me, Mr. Cheeks, we're not there yet. We are speaking to the Hammond Civil City.
All of us are inclusionary, Madam Chairman.
I specifically said that we were going to address the Hammond Civil City.
And
we will move on to the other 2 budgets, and you will be able to address them at that time. Any further comments on the Civil City budget?
I'm still on the Civil City. The Parks Department is Civil City, Madam Chairman.
And
that,
you went on to redevelopment, so I...
And redevelopment is Civil City. If you look inside of the statute in regards to the documents, Madam Chairman, the Redevelopment Commission is approved by the Hammond City Council. So under Indiana statute, that would lend itself to the Redevelopment Commission being controlled actually by the Hammond City Council. The Hammond City Council is the administrative arm of the city of Hammond, so they control all of the boards. So that would mean in the statute in regards to the Redevelopment Commission, under capital improvement dollars, that would lend itself. And if you look at the way our tax structure is, and if you look at on your tax form, the taxes that you receive, it also proves my fact in that. So if I can continue, I won't take up the council's time.
Please do.
In regards to the employee that works for the Redevelopment Commission, he's assigned to cut properties and things like that. So if we took that person and added him to the Park Department, that's a savings in itself, and also it'll save us on maintenance costs in terms of our maintenance costs, and our gasoline costs are probably 20% higher. If you look at the rate in regards to gasoline in the state of Indiana, and if you look at municipalities across the country, we use more in gas if you rate East Chicago or if you rate the city of Gary in terms of gas. Also, the city should invoke the no smoking clause in city vehicles. That in itself would save us on insurance, because those employees wouldn't have such high insurance rates, and that would also save us money. 1 second, Madam Chairman. In terms of the Economic Development Department, if we included more hotels and more capital improvement projects, that would improve the overall healthcare of our city as a whole. But I wait on the other ones to do the other ones, Madam Chairman.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the Hammond Civil City budget for 2017? Anyone else from the audience? Alrighty, we will move on to the Hammond redevelopment budget for 2017. Anyone wishing to speak to that budget, please approach the podium.
Alvin Cheeks, 832 Merrill Street. In regards to the redevelopment commission, we're probably 10% higher than any other redevelopment commission across the country. We're 3% top-heavy in terms of, if you look at the actual salaries of our redevelopment commission, redevelopment employees, I'm sorry. So if we would cut dollars there, that would get closer to reaching that $5 million goal that Councilman Torres talked about in terms of that. Also, if we just consolidated our bonds in terms of the redevelopment commission, that'll also save us money, and that'll also bring up our rating statute. That's it, Ms. Chairman.
Alrighty, anyone else wishing to speak to the Hammond redevelopment budget for 2017? Anyone else from the audience? Okay, we will move on. The 2017 budget proposal for the sanitary district of Hammond. Anyone wishing to speak on that budget, please approach the podium.
Madam Chairman, Alvin Cheeks, 832 Merrill Street. They said that our sanitation bill is gonna go up approximately $15. So that in itself is gonna, I guess we have to do it twice to pay back our debt service in regards to developing the reservoirs. So if we accumulate all of those and put those into one thing, we'll save probably 3%. That's it.
Okay, anyone else wishing to address the 2017 sanitary district budget? Anyone else? Right. Thank you. I do believe that concludes our public hearing for the day. I thank you all for taking time to come out this afternoon and ask your questions. Thank you very much. Oh, Councilman Werpel, I'm sorry.
Are we doing the council as a whole thing today too?
No, that's on the 24th.
Okay. Am I allowed to ask a question on something he asked?
Yes, of course.
Where are you coming up with this $5 million? What's the $5 million for?
No, that was what Councilman Torres had spoke about. He had spoke about, wanting more salaries for the police and fire. My only conjunction is if you look at how top-heavy we are in terms of salaries, so if you just brought the salaries down, that would be kind of a simple way, and you move over several employees and consolidate them into another department, we can save money. Because if you look at our budget, but you look at 4 of them, don't just look at this year, but when we consolidated them, that also made us spend more money.
I don't need names because I don't believe in. No. It's another question. I don't believe in names, but you're talking about 3 park department supervisors. What supervisor are the titles there?
I don't want to do names, but I'll tell you this: if you
No, I'm not asking for names. I'm just saying that are there 3 supervisor positions in the park department?
if I'm not mistaken, I think there's 4. If I looked at it right. But the only difference is the way the budget used to be, it was like easier to figure out stuff. But the way it is now, it's kind of like, it's like relearning how to read the budget again. But if you go and look at it, they used to have a book that Tony Bonaventura put together that he used to send to the State Board of Accounts, and it'll analyze all of them, and then it'll give you the breakdown, then it'll give you the percentages. Now you have to figure out the percentages plus the breakdowns and how it would save us money. But in the old days, they had a consolidation book that the controller sent to the State Board of Accounts, and he also gave it to the city council, and you can look at both of them, and then you can do your calculations. Now you have to do your calculations on your own, which makes it a lot more difficult.
Madam President,
Councilman Higgs?
just for a point of clarity, I think what was discussed from Councilman Torres' point of view was a 5% raise, and what was discussed at our previous council meeting, and I was very adamant about saying that 5% raise would probably put us in bankruptcy. Saying that I do respect the jobs that the fire and police do. I feel as though they are deserving of a raise. 5% to me is just too much of a raise, and it would really put our city in a financial deficit.
Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Once again, thank you all for coming out this evening. This concludes the public hearing.